Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and bees of all ages, welcome to the Excellency Heavy League Week 2 matchup between MG Infusion and Lotus. My name is Finnick, and I'm joined on the analyst desk today by the lovely DJ. How are you feeling tonight?
I'm excited, Fiddick. I'm excited to be back. I'm excited for another season of Heavy League, and I'm excited to see a lot of new faces for MGI in particular going up against the league stalwarts that are Lotus. So it is the new blood versus the old blood tonight, and always fun to see that dichotomy as it gives chances for these new players to start establishing themselves as these excellency pillars that we've seen so much from orgs like Lotus.
And I mean, Lotus, the only completely returning roster. They have a new jungler who's not playing tonight. It is not Yoshi subbing in, and they have Alistair returning from seasons past, as Waffle is not with Lotus this time around. I believe doing proving grounds things, if I'm not mistaken. So
I hope
uh,
so.
hopefully. Tonight's match, of course, MG Infusion, one of the newer teams to the league, as you already mentioned, DJ. Relatively new roster as far as being put together relatively recently as well. We heard in the pre-show, players to watch might be Burajiken and Snoop Donk, according to their captain Sigify, and I'm interested to see how that top site goes. Last week, they played up against AoE Unleashed. They went 2-1, and in their win, it was Silas, Trundle, Akshan mid, Tristana, 80 carry, and Braum. Are we going to see any of those picks tonight, DJ?
We'll see if the Akshan comes out again. That's definitely more of a specialty pick that I think we can expect from Hades, but it is a tricky one to operate at the moment. But the other picks, absolutely. I think they're very strong meta picks. They make for very flexible drafts. But what I'm looking for them is, again, as you mentioned, some of these aggressive priority champions for their top end jungle, Burajiken in particular, and Snoop Dogg. I want them to have agency. I want to see them play a little bit of that Team Liquid style that we saw in playoffs, right? Go up there to the top side, get your advantages early on, and try to shove it into accelerate. He's typically very good at absorbing pressure on some of these champions, but there's only so much you can do if it's executed well in the early game.
And as we are getting into the bans, a couple of these are targeted. I mean, the Thresh, straight out of Mr. Kiwiism. Samira, definitely not a pick that I've seen a whole lot in competitive. But if we take a look at solo queue, if I'm not mistaken, El Chameleon's most played in the last 50 games has been Samira, so that makes a lot of sense. Trundle being banned away, as well as Tom Kench and Lee Sin and Xin Zhao. So quite a few meta bans. Obviously, the TK has come back in after his rework. We're getting ready for the first pick, and we'll see what MG Infusion decided to do here. I think he was saying Xin Zhao was the best first pick, but that is banned, so let's see what they decide to do.
Yeah, not surprised.
Wait, was this Set? No, Set was...
That was JVL saying Set should be the first pick because of the three-way flex. It's going to be Jarvan, so they will prioritize their jungle. This does kind of fit with what I was saying about early game priority for Snoop Dogg. That said, it's Jarvan, and you have just given up Braum, Lucian. Interesting to see the Braum come out for Kiwism as an early priority, but I'm not surprised to see Lucian, of course, still very, very strong. Also strong into Jarvan because he can just so easily outplay everything Jarvan wants to do, can dash or flash away from all of the CC and the cage, of course, that comes out of this jungler. So very nice pick and a favorite of JVL's in that mid lane.
Yeah, and this Braum pick also, to me, telegraphs that they might want to go for the Ashe, which was immediately picked away. Ashe Braum has been rising in popularity, especially with his Hail Blades Ashe build that's been rising up over the last couple of patches. Now with this Ashe being picked up, doesn't have Braum, who is, I think, her preferred laning partner. There are a couple other supports that you can put with it. Ashe Seraphine, I've heard, is fairly decent as the volley of arrows leads into the guaranteed route from Seraphine. We'll see what they decide to pick up with this Ashe in that bottom lane for Sigify.
Okay, it is going to be Karma. Karma not as strong as she once was. The Seraphine would have been an interesting one, but I do like that they've gone for something ranged. This is the lane that should have prior, right? You pick Ashe to put those volleys into the enemy, to shove your wave, and to provide priority and or roaming potential for the rest of your map. I like what they've done, at least with the pairing, although I am a little concerned about Karma in terms of strength throughout this game. Did just get a little bit of a buff, I believe, on 11-18. A little stronger than she used to be. An Ivern, though, going to be the selection from Yoshi. And, you know, Finnick, I was saying that not Yoshi was going to have the most kills during Around the Horn. Starting to think that that might not be the case.
Yeah, Ivern, of course, a no damage jungler, as we all know. The advantage of Ivern is he has an incredibly fast clear. Incredibly fast. And thus you're able to make early ganks happen with that root, with that gap closer that Ivern has. We'll see if he's able to make that stick in one of the side lanes or even mid lane. Once again, they have JBL. He's going to be on this Lucian pick, unless it's Lucian Braum, which granted we can't see right now. As we move into the second round of bans, we're seeing the Sett being banned away. We're seeing the Shen being banned away. Lots of bans towards this top lane. I would expect to see another top lane ban coming out from Lotus to get rid of that priority that we're expected to see from Burra.
Yeah, I would expect the same. We can already see 2 top lane bans for, 1 top lane ban, but each for each side. There is that Mordekaiser coming through. I would expect 1 more away from Accelerate. Just take away some of his champion pool. Try to get yourself the advantage with whatever is left over once the comfort is gone, Finnick. And I would expect to see the top laner probably locked in on R4 for Lotus. I think they'll save that counter pick for Alistar, who has a big champion pool, can play a lot of things available. Does want to pick it, his signature champion. There is that Cho'Gath, so 4 top laners are taken away. Now the R4. This should be the Accelerate lock, and we'll see what he elects to go for.
I mean, you mentioned it in the name of our program, Around the Ornn. Ornn is an Accelerate pick that we have seen. You mentioned that potentially we could see a signature of Vlad. I don't think you want to blind pick that, though, as it can be counterpicked. Obviously, a lot of his counters aren't particularly good right now, Kled being, like, among them.
Hey!
Exactly what we were expecting here. Just a safe blind pick, good team fight, combos well with that Lucian, as you can really guarantee a lot of the culling through the use of the Call of the Forge God, as well as the Searing Charge knockup. MG Infusion, 2 to pick. This will be mid and top, unless it's Karma mid or top, which, you know, I wouldn't do that. I mean, Karma's decent in Ornn, but, like, nah. Yasuo being hovered.
Okay, it's going to be Camille. I like the Camille better than I like the Yasuo. That should be priority against Ornn. Yes, if you screw up your combo, he can solo kill you at level 6, but this should largely be a Camille-dominated lane. And of course, as this game progresses, Camille will absolutely dominate Ornn in a side lane. Currently, Lotus doesn't really have an answer for this kind of champion in a side lane at any point in the game. You'd really have to outplay as Lucian, but it's very unlikely where you could just get locked up and then, even follow up CC from Ashe, from Jarvan. And there's a Rise. Actually, I love these last 2 picks coming through from MG Infusion. So strong in the later stage of the game. Beautiful in the side lane. There's no answers from Lotus in the side lane. They'll have to look for full team fighting if they want to win this game. And to that name, they will pick the Jinx for Alistar. It is going to be a classic Lotus composition. Finnick, this is that full 5 team fighting. They want to be around objectives. They want to scale up to 1 to 2 items. Look for that 3rd Drake fight. But again, they cannot, unless they really outplay the macro for MG Infusion, they cannot match Camille Rise in a side lane. Those 2 champions will run you over in the very late stages of this game.
Yeah, you mentioned MG Infusion with this 1-3-1 potential of this Rise Camille. And you mentioned how Camille should be able to win that game up against the Ornn. She has true damage, which not amazing for Ornn. He will get played as steel caps to help mitigate some of that. But at the same time, these 2 champions, as you mentioned, scale super hard in the late game. They're kind of playing into what we said is Lotus's strength, which is this late game. They have an hyper carry in the Jinx, who will outcarry the Ashe. That said, Ashe currently 4 items is really, really scary with that Hail of Blades build. Going for that Gwynsu's Rageblade 4th item, going for that Wit's End, going for the Immortal Shield Bow. It is devastating if the Jinx can't at least match the Ashe's items getting into that late game. So we'll see how they decide to do that. The 1-3-1, once again, the clear win condition for MG Infusion. The team fights coming in from Lotus. What lane matchups are you looking for in the early game, though?
Early on, you have to look at the top lane. I think when you look at the gank setup, again, it's so hard for Jarvan to get an effective gank onto Lucian, even if the wave is in a good spot, right? You can lock him up with Rise, but no matter if you're level 6 or not, if he has flash up, he can just outplay both of your gank mechanics, right? He dashes away from your EQ combo, he flashes out of the baby cage, or vice versa, right? It doesn't really matter. So I think ganking JVL will be really, really difficult. He should have prio in this lane against Ryze in the early stage. So if you are on this Jarvan, if you are the jungler for MGI and you want to make plays as Snoop Dunk, you got to be looking at Berejiklian at that level 6 mark. See if you can take down the likes of Accelerate and really put him behind. Again, it's an Ornn. He'll be okay if he does. So, but if you can really gank him a couple times, make a turret dive, really make him hurt, it's going to take very, very long time for that late game scaling to come online, for some of this front line to come online, and you can accelerate your Camille, one of your side lane win conditions ahead. That's where I want MGI to be looking.
And you mentioned side lane win condition. The other one is kind of this Ashe Karma, right? You can gank this one. It is a little bit difficult to gank a Braum lane just because of the safety that Braum brings. You know, he's going to be playing forward. The Jig's going to play back. Stand behind me, unbreakable, yada, yada. But at the same time, Ashe Karma will have a lot of poke in that lane up against the Braum and Jinx. So we have to look at Lotus. You're seeing this Braum Jinx lane. It's probably not going to have wave priority versus this Ashe Karma. You mentioned the wave priority mid for the Lucian. Are we going to see not Yoshi gank that lane earlier, or is he going to put pressure elsewhere?
I think that Yoshi will just be looking to cover more so than putting pressure. Again, the conditions for Lotus are mostly team fighting around item spikes at the 2 item level. Their real point of pressure, unless they outplay their lanes, is going to be JVL. He can be used to make plays around Scuttle, guarantees some of the camps and protection for the likes of not Yoshi. But on an Ivern, you're going to be looking more to cover ganks than you are to be setting up plays. They don't really have anyone that can kill, again, outside of JVL. So if it's not in the mid lane, if JVL can't set up a play or follow up on the damage, I feel like it will be very hard for the likes of Lotus to set up specific ganks in lanes. Instead, small skirmishes could be in their favor, but they're more looking for the team fights around 2nd, 3rd Drake.
Well, that's all the time we have for the analyst desk. When we return, DJ and Camcom will be with you with the game. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
fight to hold our heads up high and beat the drum to what we love. Risk the fall, oh, we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of a world that we defy. A soul ray of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last light. Hearing voices from afar, join the madness when the curtain falls. Risk it all, hold nothing back. Seize the day, we must attack. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of a world that we defy. A soul ray of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last light. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we bring to fall the giants?
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Game 1 tonight on Heavy League. This is week number 2 on Heavy League tonight. I'm Camcom, joined by DJ here. Once again, welcome back from Analysis Desk. Now, we have some very interesting matchups, like we were talking about on the Analysis Desk here. It is kind of the team fight versus 1-3-1 here, and we didn't quite get to the predictions, but DJ, who are you predicting for this Game 1?
Oh, that's a tough one, Cam. This is Lotus's comfort zone. I mean, this is as Lotus a draft as I have ever seen. I've been casting Excellency Heavy League for two full splits of Lotus, and this is right up the alley. 2 frontliners, 2.5 really, if you count not Yoshi's Ivern, with those 2 carries in JVL and Alistair. So they are looking for grouped up objective team fights, 5v5s. That is what they want. I actually love MG Infusion's draft. I think they have so many options in the later stages. They can split push, they can skirmish, they can fight. The real thing is, it's a bit of a higher burden of execution for MG Infusion. You have to play the 1-3-1 correctly, you have to set up for it correctly, and you have to bridge these champions to their 2 item spikes. Hades and Burajikan, they need 2 items to start dominating the side lanes completely over their respective lane matchups, so they need to see some work from Snoop Dunk in this early game to keep them alive, get them ahead, and then let them take over the game. So I will favor Lotus in this Game 1. I will say I love MG Infusion's draft, but they have to execute on it, and Lotus is great at shutting down teams that think they can execute on these kinds of drafts.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually disagree with you there. I think it's all really just gonna be in the bot lane, honestly. It's going to be which AD carry gets more fed, especially early on, and that's gonna lead to, of course, the later game dragon fights. But you were talking about items a little bit, and I'm not too sure if this was intentional or not, but both Hades and Snoop Dunk have started with no items. I don't know if this was what they were planning on doing or if this was a mistake, but that is something that's very unfortunate here early on for them.
Oh, real? I can see items. Hades has a tier. Yeah, Hades has a tier, and Snoop Dunk has his jungle item and a potion.
They are invisible.
The league client doing you some big favors here, Cam.
I I see JVL having one singular health pot in his inventory. I'm gonna assume that's also incorrect.
That is also incorrect. Yeah, everyone has taken their items, so we're fortunate to see that everyone does remember that Boris does sell things at his shop.
Okay. Unfortunately, I'm apparently not as special to Boris. He doesn't sell me any items, as we have a lot of little mini skirmishes here happening in these lanes. Top lane, you see both of them sitting at about half HP. Level 2 bot lane went over to Lotus first, so they got a little bit of an HP lead, but it does look like it is more in favor of MG's bot lane now. So it's very back and forth so far. Nothing too crazy happening quite yet.
Yeah, the one crazy thing is, unfortunately, Snoop Dogg just tried to peek his head down into the bottom side for the scuttle, realized it's already been taken by Yoshi. Accelerate, flashing away. Nice trade in there from Burajikin. He will be able to get himself back up in the top lane thanks to the pressure that Burajikin does have and split the scuttle crabs, but that could have been a bit disastrous if JVL had a little more pressure in mid lane to try to contest this. And actually, he does. They're not going to let him have this.
Oh no, Hades! He's trying to fight over the scuttle as well. It is smited away by Snoop Dogg, and then the three members there, the bot lane plus the Braum there. He did walk up to try and secure that scuttle. Unfortunate that they were not able to, but they did get the flash out from Hades.
Yeah, that's a good flash from Hades. It's a price to pay for sure. Kiwiism roams up. It's a very nice roam to try to get that double scuttle, but critically for MG Infusion, they do get the scuttle and they all get out alive. Yes, the flash is down. There's now a 5-minute timer on Hades' head for a repeat gank from Yoshi, but they do get everything they needed to continue scaling up, farming up in this early game. They don't lose too much despite that very clever roam from Kiwiism.
Yeah, that was a really nice roam. He was level 3 on the Braum. He is sitting at about a quarter mana there, but that's not a big issue, especially in these early levels where Braum, he is very much up there in a very early game type enchanter slash tank. Is level 1 through 3, he is just absolutely insane at engages, so it is nice to see that he is roaming off of that level 3 power spike, and he is sitting relatively low on mana, but again, not a huge issue quite yet.
Yeah, Braum in the early game doesn't need a whole lot of mana, Capcom. Just needs to apply one stack of that Winter's Bite, and his job is basically done. Apply it, put your shield up, you've done your job, you stun someone up, you watch them die. A level 3 Braum roam is just as dangerous as a level 4 or 5 on another support in the early game. So, still like the roam from Kiwiism. It'll still be very effective, even with very low mana. And again, unfortunately, wasn't quite able to get as much as they probably wanted out of that top side play. Back to just pretty regular farming. They do get the push, though. This is a very early Drake, and I'm very surprised that it's actually Lotus able to find the timer on this first Drake cam.
Yeah, this is a first dragon for an Ivern and a Jinx, two champions that you usually don't expect early dragons for. And then Braum, of course, Braum gets all the dragons, man. Like, he friends the Poros, Ivern friends the monsters in the jungle, and then they just take all the dragons from themselves. Apparently, it's built into the lore. We should have thought about this.
Yeah, certainly should have thought about that in the lore, but I'm a little more focused on the decision making. You need to probably get something for this. You can see Snoop Dogg is hanging on this top side for Burajikin. We'll see if they can make this dive actually happen. I don't think they can. Just gonna be the steal of the Krugs as the wave crashes in. He's accelerates level 6. I really don't think you can get this done. And it's interesting that they have elected for this. Snoop Dogg went to the top side. He knew this Drake would be available. Pressure could have been there from his bottom side. They have to play it safe because Yoshi's in the bot side. JVL has pressure in mid lane. That gives them the Drake, which I thought was going to be a win condition for MGI with this draft. Instead, they lose that, and now they might lose Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, Snoop Dogg forced to flash over the wall, almost taken out by JVL, but the other side of the wall, not Yoshi, forced to flash away here, and I need to restart my client. It crashed.
Wait, they know they should redive this. Okay, they should redive this. They should redive this. They're not going to redive this. Yoshi is going to get out with his life. I'm a little surprised they've allowed this to happen. Their bot lane is in a fine spot. There's nothing to lose in mid lane. They could have easily tried to use the karma to keep Yoshi from basing. Okay, Chameleon, he'll be a greedy path against the Braum, but he's nearly punished for it. We'll lose the flash.
Yeah, it was very close. He didn't quite have to burn anything for it, like you're saying. Just Chameleon having to use that flash. I think if Kiwi did try to engage with his flash there as well, they could have potentially looked for something, but it was just a rough spot. The wave right there, very nicely stacked by Chameleon there. It's so hard to dive in when you've got like 2 or 3 full waves stacked just right in front of your tower. There's just not enough wave clear on the Jinx and the Braum to clear that out quick enough.
Yeah, certainly would not be at the moment as we check our CS per minute. You can see JVL doing a very nice job for himself. Got 63 at the moment. Also got the first blood, so he'll be sitting on a good amount of gold. You can see he's nearly to that first item breakpoint, which is a large one for Lucian. Really gives you a lot of kill pressure if you take Gale Force, gives you that extra dash. We got to hold on. It's Snoop Dunk looking for the play on bot side, but both junglers are here.
The bot lane flash coming out from Alistar. All the TPs being burned here as well. Who is burned first? Though Snoop Dogg trying to go back in, not going to find a JBL, the one able to pick up that kills. Now Virgin trying to eat out. He just about is able to dodge that Jinx. Stars Kiwiism still trying to go in. Double kill coming out for JBL. Sigafi, he is not able to walk away from that one. Chameleon doing a lot of damage with those autos there, but just unfortunate, not enough damage quite yet to turn that one around.
Yep, this is the Lotus textbook to a T, ladies and gentlemen. They see the play coming. They read Snoop Dunk, not Yoshi, knowing he only had the play on the bottom side. Everyone's there. They had TP advantage in the top and mid, and they're just stronger at the moment with JVL on first blood with the Braum, with the concussive blows, and they just dominate the bottom side team fight. You want to kill Alistar in his second game back? Absolutely not. A triple kill goes over to JVL, and now so much of MGI's win condition, scaling conditions are set so far behind. It's beautiful counterplay from Lotus, and they once again shut down another team in the early game.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you're saying, 400 gold bounty on JVL. We haven't even hit the 10-minute mark. He's almost got a kill for every other minute here in this early game. Yes, he's playing a very hyper-aggressive early game champion, but still, that is an 80 carry that is supposed to be played in the bot lane, especially with the recent buffs to him, and now we have a replay of that last fight.
Yeah, you can just see how well this is played by Lotus. Alistar gets rooted up, but immediately the TPs come in. They know they want to get on the Jinx. The flash away puts them in an unwinnable position. They can't get to the 80 carry, and then it's just a meat grinder. All of these tanky bodies with the concussive blows from the Braum. They set up one after another. A very nice ulti from Kiwiism guarantees the third onto Sigify, and it's an absolute demolition job from Lotus in the top lane. Now Snoop Dunk trying to make it out, but there are 3 members coming.
There's 3 members up here. They're trying to suck down Virgin. Now TP coming up here from MG, but Accelerate, the one able to pick up the first kill, is Rise trying to ult out. He is able to make it, but unfortunately, Snoop Dogg not so lucky there on the Jarvan. Just about misses that, and not Yoshi's the one able to pick up that kill.
Oh boy, Cam. It is Lotus just reading everything that MG Infusion wants to do. Snoop Dunk cannot breathe, cannot blink without having someone up his butt. They are so onto him. He can't. There's 3 players waiting for every play. Kiwiism was on the roam 15 seconds ago to make that play happen. And MG Infusion tried to make this play on a base timer from their bottom lane. Kiwiism reads it. He's up there. Not Yoshi's communicating him. It's beautiful stuff from the seasoned veterans in Lotus. They have turned around every early game attempt that MG Infusion has made, and they are just blowing this game open. It's 3K at 11 minutes, 15 seconds.
Yeah, it is, like you're saying, a 6,000 gold lead at the moment in favor of Lotus here, and they are just absolutely destroying this game, as you can see. That's quite the gold graph, I have to say. There is a little bit there in favor of MG in between the 2 massive team fights where they started to pick it up a little bit, but then it's just the amazing objective control really from Lotus, especially not Yoshi on this Ivern here. It's just, he knows that he can take these dragons alone, especially that he's hit level 6, now level 7. You got Daisy, you got some bushes. As long as they're not going to see you, Daisy takes way more than enough for you to be able to take these objectives all on your own.
Yeah, he can certainly try to take it on his own, but why? I mean, his team is so strong, Cam. Like, there's no reason for MG Infusion to poke their head in here for a second Drake. We set up the stakes saying that, you know, MG Infusion had skirmishing power in the early game. They are looking, of course, for the split push options with Burajikin and Hades on 2 items, but they could have definitely contested for early Drakes. Hold on here, as I think Accelerate's going to be in trouble.
Accelerate, I think he is in trouble. This is not a shutdown quite yet as Burchikin. He is trying to be the one to pick it up here. I don't think it's going to be an execute no matter what happens, but it is finally going to be a kill on the board once again for MG. Again, just trying to make it back into this game, just ever so slowly.
Yeah, I actually like this play from Snoop Dunk. Again, you know you can't fight that Drake. You're 3k gold down. You already have a 4-0 Lucian in the mid lane with Gale Force. You do not win these skirmishes at this point. So go to the other side of the map, right? Get one of your late game win conditions ahead, or at least back into the game a little bit. It's a nice catch with that Camille cage, and Accelerate tried to dash out in time, but he had already been ultied, so he couldn't get the distance. It's a nice play, and it is something that we need to see repeated for MG Infusion. Infuse that gold into your eventual side laners in Hades and Burajikin, because you aren't winning anywhere else as they use that Rift Herald for the bot lane turret. It's going to be a long, slow crawl using pickoffs for MG Infusion to have any chance back in this game.
Yeah, like you're saying, any gold that they can get on Burjikin and Hades at this point is going to be gold well spent. I mean, Chameleon, he is going to be there exclusively for support as Mr. Kiwi flashed over that wall, and they got Hades flash, but they burned 2 of their own for that one.
Yeah, flash for flash, you'll be very happy for that. As Lotus' Kiwiism once again on their own, Snoop Dunk, you're not going to kill him alone. Yeah, just walk on away.
Oh no, yeah, I mean, you don't even know if Accelerate is alone, right? Like, Aloystar sitting up in that bush, he's just waiting for someone to engage. You think this Ornn is alone? He's never alone, especially with an Ivern on his team, and this Ivern can literally be anywhere. You don't know where he is, especially just because a lot of junglers don't quite understand Ivern clear. Now, we are a little bit higher than usually the junglers that don't expect Ivern, so it is very nice to see an excellent Ivern clear as he is keeping up in CS to a Jarvan, definitely one of the harder champions. We do have a CS per minute graph here, DJ.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily surprised that Yoshi's behind on CS. He has been part of all of these plays, all of this coverage that has been required from Lotus. When MG and Fusion have tried to make these plays, it's been Kiwi and Yoshi sacrificing camps, sacrificing position to make sure that their carries are staying alive, that they have answers to the plays of MGI. So you see that lead for Snoop Dunk, but it comes at a great cost, and oh boy, this is a bad
no,
spot for
Hades just wanted to take a stomach drop, man. JVL the one able to pick up that pick, as I think there's a TP from Accelerate here in the top lane. They're looking for a dive. All 4 members up here. Burchikin really wants to pick up Aloystar, but he's going to commit his life and not find the 1v1. Meanwhile, Signify, he wants to support his top laner. It's just so unfortunate. There's not enough damage on the support top lane combo right now.
Yeah, you can just see the experience, the camaraderie of this Lotus squad coming together. Hades completely isolated in the river, wondering where his teammates are. They don't have any control over the map. 3 members were in top. They'd already pushed Burajikin under his turret. They'd established control of this top side. Once they pick off Hades, there's no cover anymore. There's no realm warp to get people into a defensive position. They can just group up as 4. Eventually it's 5 as JVL works his way up there. And the dive is just so easy, 5v2. There's a turnaround play. A lot of damage already down.
JVL could be caught out here. He is forced to flash, but Snoop Dogg, he has no mana. He already burnt his flash to Yoshi. He's going into stopwatch, but how long is it going to last? Not long enough. Hades picking up himself his first kill of the game now, and man, JVL, he got it with 1 HP.
Yeah, JVL gets himself out. Again, really hard to hunt down a Lucian as a Jarvan. We'll look at this again. I mean, look at Hades, right? Who is around him? He's trying to walk up here to cover Burajikin, but there's nobody in the vicinity. He doesn't have control. He doesn't see anyone. And now that he's down, again, the Realm Warp is gone. There's no cover. This is free for Lotus. They know it. Sure, Burajikin tries to hop onto Aloystar, but he doesn't care. He's got a full HP bar, and then it's just cleanup duty for this 5-man squad. They get the turret. They get on out. They stay a little bit too long in mid lane, which punishes Yoshi and costs the flash of JVL, but at this point, Lotus, they can kind of just do whatever they want. They're 4K up. They have the scaling team fighting composition. JVL is going to get himself a solo kill.
Yeah, that's gonna be a pretty easy solo kill up there for JVL. Chameleon made it look close, but still, you were 0-0-0 to a 7-0-0. That is not a close fight if you look at the items that they're both having in their pockets. As Hades, he is having a rough time here in this mid lane here. He's forced to flash away from Alistar and Mr. Kiwi, but I think he was stunned there. It was a glitch, but Burjikin, he's still going back in. He still wants to fight this with Snoop Dogg. Alistar taken very low. They know he doesn't have flash, but TP coming out on the backside. Luckily, MG are there to spot both TPs, actually, for Accelerate and JBL, and MG looking to just walk this one out.
The only reason that MGI survived this without more casualties is the fact that Alistar doesn't have 2 items yet. That was a beautiful combo from Kiwi and Alistar, getting the concussive blows down onto Hades as the turret falls. Alistar makes absolutely no mistake, hits every skill shot, including the traps after the stun to guarantee the kill, and then his kiting in the fight afterwards was immaculate, just walking back, using the shields and heals from his teammates. Again, if he had more items, he would have turned this back around onto Burjikin, even through the Divine Sunderer. Lotus just in full control.
Yeah, full control. You have a 7/0/0 Lucian. You have a Jinx now that is also slowly getting fed. Once you do start to get into these later stage team fights, if JVL wasn't as fed, you would be needing that gold on Alistar. But now it doesn't even matter. If you get both of your AD carries fed and you have 2 tanky, beefy frontliners and an Ivern, I mean, how are they ever going to die? It's going to take some magical footwork here from MG. I mean, you do have the Jarvan Camille Wombo combo, and of course, Sigafi, he can do a lot with a Karma E, but it can only do so much if you're so behind already.
Yeah, Karma E is not going to shield you from a whole lot at this point. I was just talking about how they would have had more casualties if Alistar had 2 items. Cam, he has 2 items. That's not good.
Wait,
that's
am I back? I think my Wi-Fi just got out.
So 2 items already onto Alistar. He's got Kraken Slayer and the Hurricane. Now there's 2 items on JVL, who's 7-0. I mean, this is getting a little out of hand. It's so hard to win a fight. I mean, imagine you assassinate Alistar in one fight. You still have to deal with JVL through all of the extra CC and tankiness provided by the rest of Lotus. This task is getting taller and taller by the moment, and Alistar, fearless, he's frontlining.
He is. He's trying to go in. Both of them going into that realm war, but they don't have enough damage. Snoop Dogg going in on the backline. He's taken down solo Hades, flashing forth. They really want to pick up Alistar. Mr. Kiwi, he's finally going down. Hades can picking up another kill for himself, and Alistar, man, he is right back so far. He's really trying. He does not have flash. Shut down going over to Chameleon, but how much are they giving up for this fight?
Yeah, this was a 4v5, Cam, and they lose a member. They finally pick up Alistar and his shutdown. It's a positive play, but they will lose out. When you are this far behind, you're always losing somewhere. JVL didn't have TP. He wasn't a part of that fight, and he just takes the bottom side camp and the bottom lane tier 2 in exchange. They even have a Rift Herald to charge into the mid lane tier 2. So even in a loss, Lotus turns the play around, gains a macro advantage, and now all they have to do is wait 2 minutes 30 seconds for this Cloud Soul. It's gonna have to be a contest from MG Infusion. And what have we been talking about all game, Cam? Lotus wants a 5v5 team fight. Alistar has his flash back up. They're gonna wait, and they're gonna clean MG Infusion's clock at this Soul Drake.
Yeah, the 5v5 is not the win con here for MG, even if it was a completely even game, as we have a replay here of that last team fight. You can just see Burjikin, he's trying to do as much damage as he can, but Daisy is taking everything that he's throwing at her.
Yeah, here comes the flank in from Snoop Dogg. This is I thought this was a little int to begin with, but the cage actually buys a bunch of time from Snoop Dogg. That allows the cleanup kills to come through without Alistar having flash. They are able to get themselves on him, but again, with how much time they spend taking down those 2 members, they lose a lot in mid and bottom lane. Deacon gonna hop on out of there. That slippery Camille with the hook shot. But again, this timer is just on for Lotus. All you have to do is farm up, not die right now. Wait a minute 30. Oh, Alistar.
Oh, not die. Alistar finds himself in a 1v2, not able to escape that Hex-Tech alternatum there. Hex-Tech. Man, shutdown going over to Burjikin as now Chameleon finds himself in a 1v2 here as well. Sigafi trying to keep his AD carry alive. He can take a lot of damage on this Karma. Snoop Dogg going in on his own. Cataclysm taking a lot of damage. Chameleon trying to find the kill onto Mr. Kiwi, but he is just so tanky on this problem, surviving for so long. Finally going to be going down to Chameleon, as now it looks like MG, they have the numbers advantage for the soul point.
Yeah, so this is just okay, wow, we're TPing in. We're chaos, Cam!
Oh no, Chameleon! He just got definitely gonna meet the same exact fate, man. That is so unfortunate for them, man. The TP flank from Nord. Accelerate, man. You're smurfing it.
God, accelerates a madman. Cammy picks up a double kill on the back of the fight. This will all but guarantee the Soul Drake as well. The flanking Ornn, Mage, Assassin, Paladin, whatever you want to call him. This man is absolutely unhinged. And the whole reason this chaos develops is because Lotus committed to a split push with a team fighting comp. They sent 2 members, Accelerate and JVL, to the bottom lane. They took an inhibitor through all the skirmishing on top side, through Alistar's death, in exchange for those lives. But then Accelerate turns it back around with that TP. This is a guaranteed soul, and despite what looks like good fight back from MG Infusion, it's still Lotus turning every disadvantage they have into an advantage somewhere else.
Yeah, MG, they're able to find these little advantages. They're making it look like they still have a chance in this game, which they absolutely do. It's just every time they try for a fight, Lotus comes back swinging even harder than they thought they could. You have a 4v3 up top, you lose your bottom hip. You have a 2v2 in the top river, you lose your outer tower in mid lane. It is just constant pressure on these towers, and eventually these towers are going to turn into inhibitors and could look to take those Nexus towers soon, especially without having that inhibitor down in the bot lane.
Yeah, come back, man. It's a little far-fetched at the moment, Cam. They're just going to start up this Baron. They can do this. They can fly right in the face of the enemy composition and how strong they are. They're going to turn off to try to fight. It looks like they might stop the Baron fully. At the very least, MGI have slowed them down, but they have lost all their TPs.
They have. There is no TP remaining on the side of MG. Lotus still holding on to that TP there on JBL, but that is the only TP still left in play. Hades going to be caught out here by that nice Ivern here. Accelerate really trying to blow him up, but you see JV on the backline. He does so much damage. He's going to be stumped up by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but just going right back over the wall. Accelerate just taking down the backline all on his own. Or is he a tank? No, he's an assassin. Double kill coming out for JVL. Clean ace from Lotus, looking to end game 1.
Yeah, that is gonna do it, Cam. They already have a wave pushing in the bottom lane with that downed inhibitor, and they just smack them with their wallets. Capitalism always wins, ladies and gentlemen. It's gonna be Lotus bowling over MGI for a game 1 win.
Absolutely. That was a very dominant victory there from Lotus. They got the first blood, and then from there, it just looked like the first blood ended the game. First bloods aren't supposed to end the game. They're just supposed to be a little minute advantage, but then it turned into a first blood, into a first dragon, into a first tower, and then it just snowballed out of nowhere.
Yeah, the first blood was very nice from JVL, but I really think this game blew itself open on that bottom lane play. It's a little bit over aggressive from MGI, trying to gank Alistar deep in, and of course, low exactly where the breaking points are. They know who to defend. They TP all in. They get 3 kills on a JVL. He's a 4-0 Lucian, and yeah, good night. You know, that's all it really takes from that point on. JVL and Alistar just going to dish out all the damage you need. Beautiful stuff from Lotus. A classic victory for them as they open up this series with an easy win.
If remember in that early game that you wanted gold on if you're Lotus, it was going to be JVL. He has the early 80 carry, and then once you get him fed a little bit, then he's 4-0. Then you can start looking to put gold onto your Jinx, onto even your Ivern a little bit, maybe to keep your 80 carries alive. And at that point, if no one's dying in our team, they're not picking up shutdowns, they're not picking up gold.
Very hard to make a comeback, but we'll have to see if MGI can reset their mental, because they're going to need to make a comeback here in game number 2 if they want any chance in this series, and hopefully not go 3-0 on the day, because after this one, that's kind of looking like what the outcome might be.
Yeah, hopefully not, but I think we're throwing it to analysis desk now with DJ. Never mind, we're going to intermission. We will be back very shortly again.